Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar series. The COVID-19 Southbury webinar series is continuing. I want to welcome you today to this particular topic that we're going to talk about, which is resources and reopening. And we're asking that you join us in this conversation. So if you join us midstream, please do feel free to prepare some questions and send us those in the chat box. And then we'll give you a chance to ask those as we go along. Joining me for this webinar topic today, I'm happy to have two fantastic business advisors from the Connecticut Small Business Development Center. We have Betsy Paintner and Nelson Merchant. And we go way back, they and I. Betsy has been in my shoes in economic development in Newtown and in Brookfield. As well as leading the city center in Danbury most recently before joining Connecticut Small Business Development Center. So welcome, Betsy.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
And Nelson Merchant, he and I have been partners in crime during my economic development efforts, both with, for him with the Small Business Development Center and with me in the towns of New Milford and working for CERC, which is now Advanced CT. Prior to coming to Southbury, and so it's been a very fruitful ongoing relationship. So thank you for joining us, Nelson.
Thank you for the invitation, Kevin.
And as I said, today's topic is resources and reopening, and a terrific resource that I wanted to be sure to share with all of you today is the resource of the Connecticut Small Business Development Center. It's as we often say in the industry here in the state, it's the best, one of the best kept secrets in Connecticut, and we definitely are doing our best to try to change that. Although, given the recent events of the pandemic, it's certainly been a resource that many have found and are taking advantage of. So we're grateful for the organization, and let them tell you much more about it better than I can. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Betsy Paintner. And she will share some information about SBDC. Betsy?
Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to look to see if I can share our slide here. But I want to thank you very much for having us today for your Zoom at noon. And let me just see if I can get this presentation up here. And I just can't see where to share this from. Let's see. Files.
That little green button.
The green button, yep, and I'm looking to share on our screen. Let's see, where is that document? It's right here. Let's see. I'm trying to.
I'll be happy to start with the story before, as you find the file.
Please.
No, there was an SBA event about 3 years ago, and it was amazing to attend the event. And something that surprised me was that there was only one person from economic development in the region, in our region. And the second thing that surprised me was that he knew almost everybody in that ceremony, and that person was Kevin. So very impressed with your economic development skills. I think that Southbury is very lucky to have you, and thank you so much for talking to your business community, letting them know about the resources, and being an advisor to the community in Southbury. That has been amazing.
Well, happy to do so. It's a great community. I'm very blessed to be here. Wonderful that they have made the decision to have an economic development director. The EDC has sought this for a very long time, and we finally made it happen this past fall. So I'm
trying to find how to get over to it. I can't see the document. I am so sorry right now.
Take your time. Take your time. I want to share a few other things. As you know, the SBA has had a good number of programs launched in the last couple of months, the EIDL, the Loan Advance, the PPP. And we have helped a good number of clients apply and go through the process. And it's exciting when we get to celebrate with a client who is approved for a 2,000 loan advance, and they're happy because that works for them. But we're also happy when we help a client access 1.5 million with a PPP program, part of the PPP program. So that's very important for us. So size really doesn't matter. We're here to help people who want to start businesses and people who want to survive and grow in these times.
Is that up there now? Can you see?
Yep, we can see your screen.
Can you see my presentation there?
It's looking better now. View.
Okay, very good. Okay, very good. So we'll go from here. Can you see the slides?
All set. Great.
Okay, wonderful. I apologize for technical difficulties there. So like I was saying, it was very nice to be here today. And the SBDC has been in Connecticut actually for 39 years, which has been, like you said, this hidden secret within the state of Connecticut. And it's something that we want to make sure, especially during these times, that the businesses are aware of our availability and how we can help them continue to grow their business in Connecticut to thrive. So taking you through what is the SBDC. The SBDC is funded by the SBA, which is at the federal government, and that comes down to the state level. And every state has an SBDC. Some have multiple SBDCs. There's over 1,000 across the United States. The one in Connecticut has been here for 39 years, and we're celebrating that anniversary this year. And predominantly what our advisors do is help businesses with management and technical assistance for their business to continue to grow. We do work very closely with the state of Connecticut and the Department of Economic and Community Development. And our host is the University of Connecticut at the School of Business. So for instance, this summer we have about 17, or maybe no, it was about 7 or 10 graduate students that we're working with, and they're helping us in the back end with some data analysis and market research, et cetera, just to help our businesses here in Connecticut. So it's a great relationship. Our services. So for SBDC, we have a professional staff of advisors for about 14 professional advisors today, and they range in expertise in everything from venture capital to help businesses and entrepreneurs grow to advisors that help with mergers and acquisitions to sell your business, if that's something you're looking to do. We're 100% confidential, and we're very closely as a team member of your business development team. And as Kevin said earlier, we are your tax dollars at work. So we are 100% at no cost to businesses. In fact, it's worth a meeting just to set up an advising meeting just to use your tax dollars to see how we can help you and take it from there. So our business advising services here range from financial analysis and cash flow management. We can also help prepare and access capital for businesses that are looking to purchase a business or grow, or purchase their building or expand by a piece of equipment or grow in that aspect. Market research, we have a lot of tools, which Nelson will take you through on the range of tools that we have for market research with various different business sectors. Marketing and social media advising as well, especially in today's world. That's where businesses really need to make sure they are strong as online. We can help prepare budget preparation and forecasting as well. Exporting consulting we can do, startup assistance with entrepreneurs, helping businesses with disruptions such as the COVID issues that we have today. The loan and restructuring financing, then there's the federal programs of SBIR, STTR, which is the Small Business Innovation Research or Technology Research Assistance. We can help you with that. And then also, like I had mentioned earlier, business evaluation and succession planning. So we have a wide range of assistance that we can provide businesses from the beginning to the end. Just here's some couple of numbers here that show in the past year that we've helped about 2,000 clients, just recently about 600 of them. We've raised about over $28 million in capital for local business owners. So we really can help prime a business to look good on paper when they sit down with their financial organization for funding, and we can help them find funds as well. And we continue to provide guidance. Here is Liz, the owner of Cross Culture Kombucha. She started her entrepreneurship with SBDC, growing her brand, learning how to launch her brand. And today she has the only kombucha bar that is located in Danbury on Division Street. They also sell their product in restaurants on tap and of course in farmers markets as well. But this is just an example of a testimonial from her on how we've helped her. And this slide here really is showing the work that we've been doing in the past couple of months with businesses during this COVID time. Recovery and opening has been a big subject right now, looking at businesses from where they were in January to where they are in June. It's a different world for them. So recovery and reopening, pivoting their business, what they have to take into consideration now that they're in June and it's a different environment. And again, also helping them with buying and selling a business if they're looking to cash out on their business, or investors that are looking to purchase as well. Then we have this slide here where these are 7 buckets of business operations, if you will, and helping business become more adaptive with the continuity of today's time so that they can recover quickly and when unexpected issues come up. So everything from their leadership to health and safety, compliance and best practices and brand marketing, we can help a business in all of these different categories depending on where their needs are. So this has been the most work that we've been doing as of recent because people are really concerned and they really want to know where they can go, where they've been, and how they can adapt and keep adjusting. So from here on this slide on, Nelson will take us through the wide range of tools that I had mentioned that we have to help businesses thrive in today's economy. So Nelson, here you go.
Thank you, Betsy. So as you know, and as you heard, SBDC provides free business advising in Connecticut. So I would invite, if you are a business owner, to become a client. It's a wonderful, wonderful service. We work very hard for our clients. I want to share 2 stories with you. One is personal, the other one is related to business. About 4 weeks ago, I started to gain weight, and I was not happy. And I kept an eye on the most important metric, which was my weight. I made a few changes here and there, but there was no changes in the results. I kept the weight higher than I wanted. And that's when I finally said, no, I need to make changes to really achieve my goal. And I'm happy to share with you that that's working. And the metric is showing numbers that I'm happy with. So metrics are very important. We need to make changes if we want to achieve better results in personal life and also in our business. And that's something that concerns us. The idea is not to just reopen. The idea is to achieve the goal that the business owner wants to achieve. And sometimes we need to make changes. And it's not back to business as we know it. The other story has to do with expanding my options. And sometimes we assume that the impossible is actually impossible. And I have a couple of examples. One has to do with asking the landlord for a deal with the rent. And I have heard that before. It's impossible. I know the landlord is not going to happen. And as you know, in some cases, significant changes have happened. The lease has been reviewed. The rent has been allowed to be not payable for a couple of months. And other deals have happened related to the rent. So the impossible is actually sometimes possible. I remember I had a client, very important client, and the client was very significant. More than 50% of the revenue of my business depended on that client. And I didn't do much to change that. Eventually, I lost the client, and I happened to be attending a conference almost a week later, and I talked to a lady that I didn't know. I shared my concern that I had lost my most important client. And her advice was, I will never allow a client to fire me. And that was something eye-opener. I couldn't believe what she was talking. I couldn't see how that related to my issue. But the bottom line was to get back to the client, and see how you could recover that client. And it happened. And that meant that more than $500,000 in sales happened after that event. And that's something that I want you as a business owner to remember. It's important to expand my options, and the impossible is possible. So we have a tool that we call Bottom Line, and that tool allows us to do financial projections. So we want to see what's going on a monthly basis for the first 3 years. We use that tool with new businesses and also with existing businesses. In the case of new businesses, we want to make sure that the numbers make sense, not only on the revenue side, but also on the expenditure side. The bank is very familiar with the numbers, so if they see something that doesn't make sense, the chances of a loan getting approved, go down. So we want to make sure that we present financial projections that make sense. With existing businesses, we can create scenarios. So what's going to happen with my business now that I reopen? Am I going to have 80% of the sales that I used to have? Or maybe I'm in a field that I will actually increase sales. So in any case, it's good to have a couple of scenarios, and it allows us to identify our cash needs. It allows us to, again, keep an eye on the metrics that matters to the business and be able to be more flexible and adapt to the needs. So now let's go to the next slide, slide number 11, which shows the growth wheel. Growth wheel was created in Europe. It's now based here in New York City. And it's an amazing tool that allows us to take a picture of the business. As you can see in the screen, there are 4 areas: customer relations, business concept, organization, and operations. So the business owner takes a picture of the business, and we can see where the business owner sees the most crucial aspects of the business and where we want to spend more time with that client. And based on those determinations, we provide the client with tools that can help him make decisions, because that's the beauty about business is making decisions. Why wait 2 years when the decision has to probably be made now? So we want to help the client make better decisions now, if that is meaningful to the business. So Growth Wheel is a tool available to our clients, and it's just incredible. It's very easy to use. And it's a tool that we are the only ones in Connecticut that has it available to clients that want to grow. The next tool is Industrius. It allows us to do financial benchmarking. So basically, we take the balance and the profit and loss statement of our client, and we compare with similar companies in the industry. If we have enough, let's say, pizzerias in Southbury, maybe we're going to compare it against pizzerias in Southbury. If we don't have enough, maybe we have to use the county, or maybe we use the state, or maybe we use the East Coast. In any case, they're going to have similar sales, and it's going to allow us to identify all the metrics. Again, in my case, for my weight, I was keeping an eye on the number of pounds. In the case of the business owner, we want to see what's going on in comparison to other companies in the same industry. It's a wonderful tool. Again, it's available free of charge. The comparison is made confidentially, so we cannot identify which companies are included, and the statements from our clients are not made knowledgeable. We don't tell anybody the name of the company. So I remember a couple of my clients, they had payroll was more than 40% of the revenue. And they were wondering why they were not making money. So when we do this comparison, in both cases, we identify that the competitors, the other companies in the industry, were actually having a payroll of less than 23%. So this is just one example of one metric, but the tool allows to compare so many metrics. It would allow clients to be better informed and make better decisions. So this is one of the tools that I love the most. And again, it's available to our clients, and it's confidential. In the next slide, we're talking about IBIS. IBIS is market research. It's so important to know what's going on with the industry. So if you are starting a business, I think it's important to know if the industry is growing, or maybe it's actually not growing. Who are the big players in the industry? What are the challenges? What are the opportunities? What are the strengths? What are the distribution of the cost? And so much more information. So there is one piece of market research that we make available to our clients. The second part, it's another market research that allows us to know who are our local competitors, who is the owner, how many employees, estimated sales, and again, a lot of valuable information on that particular industry and how the COVID is related to that industry. Is COVID in general affecting or not affecting the industry? So there are comments related to that particular industry. So I love all this market research because it allows us as business owners to make better decisions. In some cases, we can submit a special request. Maybe you want to identify the top advertising agencies with more than 20 employees in the state of Connecticut. Maybe that information is meaningful to your business. So we can provide that to you at no cost. It takes a few weeks for people to put it together, but it's possible that we will be able to provide that special request. And then the next slide is ESRI, which is a little bit more into the numbers. So it allows us to see the demographic data for the location that we select, usually our business. So we want to see who lives within 5 miles, within 10 miles. What is the spending data? How are they spending the data? Based on that information, we might decide to open a restaurant, a fancy upscale Italian restaurant in Southbury and not in Danbury, or whatever the decision we need to make. But it's important to look at the numbers, and it should be included in the component to make decisions that are going to help us starting a more successful and more profitable business. And finally, we are working on creating unique content, unique videos, and unique classes so that our clients are better informed. It's important to keep learning, and we are going to launch very soon these new videos that are incredible. In any case, our clients not only have access to those videos, but we have also a list of amazing material available online. And we need to learn from the best. And going back to the metrics, in this time, social media, as Betsy mentioned, acquires a special importance. So we need to be more strategic. And I was so happy to see one of my clients using one of the new applications that not too many of us use. And the product that she used, it was incredible. It was amazing. So videos, more active presence in social media is important. If you are running a restaurant and you are not active in Facebook, so maybe you will not find me. We will not be able to interact. So social media is key. And again, all these services and more are available to business owners and people who want to start a business at no cost in a confidential matter.
Thank you, Nelson, so much. I mean, we do have a wide range of resources depending on whatever the business's need is at the time. If it's financial, market research, analysis, et cetera, we have business advisors that are experts in all of these fields. And we have access to these tools that many other organizations do not. So they're proprietary to us. As you can see on this slide, we have 26 locations. But as we are working today, we are online and Zoom, and we can access any business owner today virtually within minutes. So nobody has to drive anywhere to meet. It's really a very efficient way, actually, of business advising. And I'll remind you too, our website is on the lower left-hand corner, which is www.ctsbdc.com. And where Nelson was saying the videos of training are available there, as well as there's a big yellow button in the top right-hand corner that says request for advising. And that's all it takes. You just click on that button and put in your information. We have an intake specialist that will get your file and then advise and put you in contact with an advisor within a couple of days. So we're here to help the businesses strive to be the best that they can be and adjust in these times. As I said, currently we're helping businesses evolve and pivot and give them guidance to all the challenges that they're up in front of. And we're here to help the American dream thrive in Connecticut. So please look at our website for more resources, and please take advantage of the Connecticut SBDC.
Thank you so much, Betsy. Thank you to you, Nelson, as well. That was a terrific overview of the services that Connecticut SBDC offers. And as you did say, and I'll just reiterate, is that these services are, because of the use of tax dollars and use of how the funding is sourced, they are free to take advantage of. You just go to the, how do you actually, what's the first step? I don't know if we've covered that. If somebody does want to take advantage of the resources.
Like I said, you go, here's our last slide here with our website, ConnecticutSBDC.com. And you go onto that site. It's very simple. And on the top right-hand corner, there's a yellow button that says request for advising. And it just, it's an intake page that, you know, name of your business, the contact, owner, etc. And like I said, somebody will contact you. It comes up onto our system immediately and get you in touch with an advisor, or get an advisor in touch with you within 48 hours or so. And we can meet with a business on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, whatever is needed to get to them to complete their task and get them set up for success.
Excellent.
And you can see, Kevin, you can see the links to the sign up page in the chat box. I added them a minute ago.
I just saw that, yes. So let me draw everyone's attention to the chat box, because not only so that you can make a comment to us on this webinar and ask questions when we get to the Q&A portion, if you want to pre-send in some questions, but also, as Nelson has indicated, there is links that he has put into the group chat that you can jot down. We will do, as we always do with the webinars, provide an after webinar sheet that will contain all of these links as well, so that I can share with everybody. And hang on one second. So before I jump to this, I just want to say a couple words here. So I'm happy that we do have some folks that have joined us online. And as I said, we will provide an opportunity to do some Q&A if anybody has questions when we do get to the end of this. But the resources of Connecticut Small Business Development Center cannot be overstated. Frankly, they're so wide and diverse. And as you said, you've been around for, what was it, 39 years. So the expertise, not that everybody that's there has been on the team 39 years, but the team has been growing as well, given the pandemic. Betsy, I know you are new to the organization. You're an example of somebody newly hired to meet the need of the moment. So, but one of the things, and I know we kind of touched on it, but before we leave the services of CTSBDC is folks that may be looking to start a business. These tools are invaluable. I've met so many people who already are in business and already have established their business, who then learn about SBDC and think, boy, could I have used those services when I was starting out. This was exciting for me and for hopefully everybody that gets to see this, because in a way we're looking behind the curtain, right? There's so many wonderful tools that I knew that SBDC had, but it is proprietary tools, of course. And this, for some of us, this is a first glimpse at some of those tools, and you really can see how robust they are, and how all this experience going into the organization has turned into a wonderful asset for our state, and indeed states across America, right? Every state has some form of a SBDC. Is that correct?
And some states have multiple, depending, like Texas or the larger states have multiple regional. But it's something you had just mentioned too. Entrepreneurship is a big thing right now. Connecticut has been very strong with entrepreneurs anyway. But during these times, people may be really considering what they're doing, turning that hobby into a money maker and taking it to the next level. And that's what we're here to do, is to help them kind of examine that hobby and where they are with income coming and how we can poise it. It might take them a year or two to get it launched off the ground, but you have to start somewhere. So we'd like to help ignite that idea with them and create it and take it to the next level. So that's one of our very many strengths that we have, is to work with entrepreneurs and kind of hold their hand a little bit and get them through those first couple of hurdles.
Yeah, and many of the business advisors are business owners or have been business owners themselves and have built brands and maybe built and sold brands, depending if they're serial entrepreneurs. And that's one of the things that attracted them to become a business advisor with SBDC, is to lend what lessons they've learned and help others do the same. So I want to just shift gears over to reopening, and I'm just going to share my screen for a moment here and just go into the fact that we are, of course, in this phase of reopening. In Connecticut, phase 2 is set to begin June 17th. It was moved up by a few days. Some say it because of Father's Day coming up on that weekend, and want to get people open and ready to take advantage of that. I'm not exactly sure why it was moved up by a few days, but nonetheless, one thing I do want to note is it should be obvious, but I think it's worth stating, is that businesses are not certainly required to reopen. Just because they are on the list of eligible reopening businesses certainly does not mean that you are required to reopen at that time. It merely means that you are able to if you meet certain requirements and self-certification. So this slide here gives you a list of those businesses that are set to be eligible to reopen, that have come out as guidance from the state. This link here, updated industry specific requirements, is a very detailed site. I'm just going to click on it here for a moment and take us there. If you haven't already, if you are on this list of businesses eligible to reopen, and you have not visited the resources that are available, that detail from the state, from DCD. So this is on the CT website, the Visual State website, and it goes through in details, downloadable by sector, all the necessary requirements for you to be able to reopen. And the onus is on you. You are the one required to go through that with a fine-tooth comb and come up with those, meet those requirements. And then in doing so, there is a self-certification website, which many have seen, but I wanted to provide it here. And this link will take you there. And again, the onus being on you to go to this self-certification website the state has put up, complete it, in full honesty that you have done these things. You click here on this self-certify now, and it'll take you to those eligibility requirements, and you then say, yes, I have done all these things, and you get a badge that says that you are indeed certified, which you can display on your business when you reopen.
Kevin, if I could add to that.
Sure.
A great tool for this, and this is wonderful that Connecticut is doing this. This really helps with consumer confidence. And it shows customers and consumers that you have crossed your T's and dotted your I's, and everything is ready to go for their safety, and that you're ready to help them come back to do business with you. So it's really a great thing to advertise to your clients and customers that you have achieved these goals.
Absolutely. And then on the self-certification page of the state website, there also is the Small Business Reopening Resource Guide, which has been exhaustively updated over time, added to with just the latest information that you need to know about reopening. So certainly if you are diving in and doing this, you want to do it, obviously safety is paramount. So it's a lot to do. I've talked to folks that are in the throes of this, and it is not for the faint at heart. There's a lot to do. So take the time to be prepared. Not everybody is rushing to open that first day it's available. because they want to make sure that they get it right and that they are safe for their clients and their customers, but as well as for their employees. Some other reopening resources available to you. Of course, a big concern is PPE, all these acronyms, and thermometers. And so the state link to order those masks and thermometers is still open and available if you have not yet ordered yours. There are, curtails on just, one thermometer per physical address, for example. But by all means, while those resources are available, I do encourage you to go to this site, and that will give you the opportunity to order both. The way it works, once those orders are placed, they're fulfilled from the state, sent to a regional center. So for Southbury, the regional center is in Waterbury, and then usually about once a week or maybe more if there's a notification that we have materials waiting for us, we send someone to Waterbury to pick them up, bring them back here to Town Hall, and then we have a distribution channel between 9 and noon, Monday through Friday, from Town Hall to distribute those items. And we contact you that we have your particular masks or thermometer here to let you know they're available for pickup. I mentioned it earlier when I showed you that link, the Small Business Reopening Resource Guide, another link here to that. And again, I'm going to share all of these with our follow-up to this webinar. An important helpful thing for preparing the workplace is what OSHA put out. So there's a link to that document, which is a very detailed for cleanliness and preparation for your workplace. And we touched on earlier on the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program. It's certainly by far the most applied to, at least in our survey here in Southbury, most applied to financial pandemic resource, with about close to 70% of the survey takers saying that they applied for it. And so just a reminder that there has been a new bill passed, the Flexibility Act, which does create some changes in terms of the forgiveness of that PPP and some other changes as well. There was just
if I could jump in on that, Kevin, too. Just today, just to remind you that SBDC is hosting webinars to help business owners to understand the PPP forgiveness. We had one today at 11, which we had over 300 attendees there. So we are providing a lot of resources regarding this subject matter. And we are setting up another one for next Wednesday, I believe. And once I have that information, Kevin, I can send that over to you so you can let the businesses know in Southbury if they want to learn more about the forgiveness. To your point, it is changing all the time. So we have some great resources internally that are staying up to date on all of those changes.
Absolutely. I was actually, you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to mention that that we just had the webinar on the PPP this morning, just before this webinar, and the SBDC did it anyway. And hopefully it'll be repeated. And usually I try to get a hold of those playbacks as well to share with everybody. And then on the subject of money, there is still, here and there, you're coming across grant opportunities. The FedEx grant opportunity is still out there between now and it's 2 more days left to apply for that. It's a small one, but every little bit can help. So as I said, much to talk about, much to dive into. At this point, I just want to take a glance at my participants here and see if anybody has raised anything in the chat box that they wanted to ask us specifically. And while I do that, let me just throw a couple questions out to the two of you, if I may. Hang on a second, I'm going to unshare my screen here. And Nelson, you have seen, as you said, an uptick in activity, certainly with the COVID-19 pandemic, in terms of your services with SBDC, and I'm sure your colleagues as well. Hence, again, the hiring of new people. So just in terms of the folks that are reaching out to you, and I'm sure it's diverse, but what are some of the needs that you're seeing out there?
Well, in the last couple of months, it has been mostly SBA programs and state programs that we have been helping our client with. We have never seen so many clients. It was just crazy. It was just too many. We were able to handle all that flow, but it was very stressful. But we were so happy to be able to be there for our clients, to be there for the business community in Southbury. Thank you so much for so many referrals. But it was just unreal. Unemployment was another topic that we assisted our clients with, and the fact that there were issues with the state website and we were not prepared, so that made the whole process a little bit more painful. But I think that we are over that. With some companies, it's about reopening. So we were working with them to, what are we going to do differently to make sure that we are going to do in a better position. So we talk about market research and working on the sales and marketing plan. Some people decided to start businesses, so we are working with them. And we use a template that allows more than one person to update the business plan online. This template is amazing, and it also has a couple of samples for each section. So it helps, it provides a lot of guidance. And in another template that we can use, it allows to use NAICS code, so that if I say that, I'm going to spend 30% of the revenue in payroll, you might say, look, in your industry, it's actually a lower percent if you want to make money. So it provides more guidance, and we can end up with a better business plan and a business that is more likely to be profitable faster. So business plan, financial projections, very important for new companies.
Yes, absolutely. I think that the current state of things has everyone rethinking their business models. For example, I think it's definitely shine a spotlight on if people were flying very, very close to the vest and in terms of their margins, and just really on thin ice, that something like this can just knock them off, not only knock them off kilter, but completely knock them out of business. So I think all those that are certainly going to survive this and move forward, one of the things that probably will come out of it is that people will keep a closer watch on that. Let's say, maybe they weren't watching their finances as tightly as they would have, or maybe they took more risks than they may take going forward, or maybe this will create people to be somewhat more risky because they feel like, you know what, I've been so careful and so cautious, and then this knocked me for a loop, and I'm actually more bold than I was before. So
that's the pivoting, right?
That's the pivoting. Yeah, like, look, I didn't know I could do this, and I can. I think some of the pivoting that's happened will remain. They pivoted to keep their business going and solvent, but those things are worked or are working, and even though they'll go forward and maybe return to what they were doing traditionally, they'll keep some of that pivot in the mix.
And I think that as a business owner, we cannot forget that we are not alone, because sometimes we think that all the decisions has to be made by us, and we think that we are very important for our business success, and unfortunately that's not the case. So you have a team. Sometimes it's your employees, sometimes are the millennials in your team, and sometimes it's your child. They can come out with great ideas. And usually it's the spouse or the partner, that can help with bringing the business owner back to planet Earth. Sometimes it's Kevin, sometimes it's we want to be part of the conversation. So definitely, use us, SBDC. It could be competitors who can help you, or it could be companies in other parts of the country. So reach out because you are not alone. You shouldn't be alone. This is a very important moment, and whatever decision we didn't make in the past, we need to be open to making decisions that are going to allow us to do better. I keep an eye on two upscale restaurants. One of them decided not to close, and I think that even though they are not doing great, I think that the chances of surviving are higher because they had to adapt quickly. And the other one kind of gave up quickly and said, I'm closing the restaurant. So we will see what happens. Two different approaches, and I hope that the restaurant that decided to close early will come back with a strong strategy to attract clients again. So you are not alone.
That's right.
Well, and you mentioned something with that we haven't necessarily touched on, is that it's not, this crisis is not affecting everyone equally. There are certainly some businesses that have been thriving, that the way this has gone has either not affected their business because either they were essential and became even more essential, or there's just some people refer to as recession-proof or crisis-proof businesses. And so you definitely see a wide disparity. Some are gutted because of this crisis, and it's so necessary to reopen, and others less so. So
businesses that have need like consumer transaction, those are the ones today that, communicating to your customers is so important, and to remind them of what you are doing for them for safety and health, for them to come back to you for transaction. And I think communicating with your customers is very valuable right now. Let it be through social media, on email blasts, anyway, commercial types advertising, just to let them know that they are in your forefront of thinking, that they're the most important thing to you is their customers.
I heard somebody say along those lines, Betsy, right when this all happened and everything was all shut down, that figuring out how to reach them and how to connect with your customers, and then bringing a something of use, something of value in terms of your what you're offering them. So obviously not saying, hey, buy from me because things are closed, but staying connected and offering them, whether it's your expertise, you're maybe a subject matter expert in a particular area. Let's example like is travel. Okay, so maybe nobody's traveling, but someone in the travel industry could still be reaching out to all the customers and offering them ways to enjoy vacation without going on vacation, or tips that they come across, but staying connected, like you're saying, and it being providing some kind of value, some kind of use.
Mm-hmm.
And with regard to that, I bring back email marketing. Email marketing, some people think that is dead. I think that email marketing is a great opportunity to be connected, as Betsy and you are mentioning. So email marketing done well can be quite powerful. And if you combine it with a good strategy in social media, it can be amazing.
And it doesn't cost a lot of money.
Right, exactly.
Social media is free, so you can do it it's just time.
Yeah. Oh, I was amazed when I first started using Facebook boosts, and I saw the targeted way you can select the demographic and the geography and the minutia with which you can target your message for all, but just for a few dollars. I think when I first started doing it, it was like $8, and it jumped from a few 10, 50 people or so to like thousands of people that were reached with that post. It is an amazing marketing tool, and of course, as these platforms continue to be a big part of our culture, I think that's definitely not going away. It's here to stay. Betsy, I wanted to just ask you more of a question that is related because of your background. I know you have the marketing background, and some of that came through in what you're talking about today. But also you, like I am, you're doing sort of economic development in a suburban setting. But then from there, you had moved into an urban setting with the city of Danbury and the work you're doing there, and then now with the state agency of SBDC. And I was just curious if you had any reflection on, with this current crisis, if you're seeing any commonalities in businesses and differences coming from sort of those three different perspectives that you have.
Right. Well, it's kudos to all the municipalities that are really, working their zoning regulations for outdoor dining. I think businesses to work one-on-one with their planner and zoning commission or zoning person to be able to provide them what they need to make money in this current time for the next couple of months. So I'd say kudos to the municipalities for working with those businesses to allow that to happen. And But I think from there, it's really connecting with your community, because I think people are not traveling as far to do business, you know, and a consumer aspect. So staying connected to your local community, I think people are spending money closer to home right now versus like driving to Hartford to go shopping or something like that in this northern Fairfield County area. So I would just, yeah, stay connected with your local community and let them know you're open and be a partner to them.
Yeah, shop local is always a good message, but you know, probably never more so than it is today.
Exactly. Yep. When you spend money locally, you know, everybody hires a local accountant, hires a local lawyer. They spend money at the local grocery store. They hire the local babysitter. It stays, I think out of every $100 spent locally, $68 stays within your community. So it's a definite benefit for the community to buy local.
Fantastic. I'm just going to take a quick glance. One of the questions was about sending out slides. I did want to mention that we won't be sending out the SBDC slides because there's so much proprietary information in there. But as I said, that will be supplying the links that we've talked about during the course of this discussion today. And certainly, if you want to have access, let's say, to some of those wonderful tools that you saw in those SBDC slides, you know where to go to get that access by becoming a client. So,
so much information on our website too, just to remind people, if you go there and just poke around and take a look at it before you sign up for advising is great. There's a lot of videos on there and tools to use as well.
Great. Well, I want to thank you both for joining me. I want to thank our guests that joined us on this Zoom call for coming in as well. Want to just share my screen one more time, and I want to provide the contact information. So if you wanted to get in contact with Betsy or Nelson or myself, there it is on the screen, our contact email and our contact phone number. And I'll leave that up for just a second or two. And don't hesitate, please. We welcome further questions that may come out of it. If you watch this webinar and you have some questions that you thought of after the fact, or if you're watching this after we've recorded it, please reach out to us and don't hesitate. We'll get back to you as quick as we can. And lastly, I just want to kind of give you a teaser for next week. Our webinar series will continue. Next week, we're going to focus on going from triage, which is what some of us have referred to this current situation, into strategy. So we're going to be looking at sort of the future of business post-pandemic. So with that, I again want to thank Nelson, thank Betsy.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
And we look forward to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'll send you the information for the webinars next week, and thank you for helping us push out that information as well to help the Southbury business community.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll continue to share those webinar opportunities, and of course the link to your services. So thank you both for joining me, and this has been another edition of Southbury's COVID-19 webinar. Have a great day.
Take care.